Hey everybody, here we are. Excel, the one you've been waiting for. This is Excel version 2010, and the big difference between the previous version and 2010 is right here in the corner. They had a little circle up here, and they took the circle and they made it the File button. Otherwise, pretty much the same software. So we're just going to do a big round robin, kind of tell you the lay of the land here, and then we'll get started. So this tells you that it's Excel. I know, that was a tough one. Okay, save button, undo, redo, and this is to customize the quick access toolbar, this is the quick access toolbar up here. I don't usually do that too much, and in fact I don't use these too much. I use the quick key there, Control Z. For undo, it is undo, Control Z is the same key in just about every Microsoft product I've ever worked in. So I just learned one quick key. I think it's faster. Alright, we have ribbons, which you've become familiar with in Microsoft Word, and they function much the same in Excel. So the first one's a little bit different because that's your File button. When you click that, you have your Save As, Open, Close, Recent Documents, New, which also gives you templates just like Word does. Print, which puts you right into Print Preview. I don't have anything open, so it's not really showing you anything. Oh, there we go. A little bit of something, but not much. And we'll go through all of these things in another video. Home tab, much the same as Word, because you have your clipboard here. Then you have everything about the font. So you have some colors of the text. You have your highlighting, fill color, border, and then your italic, bold, all that kind of good stuff. Font, size of font, a little bit bigger, a little bit smaller. Those are kind of handy. Here in alignment is much like page layout in Word. So you have where you want the text to be in the cell, on the top, in the middle, and the bottom, and then you also have your regular left, right, center, which we're familiar with. This one's kind of interesting. It lets you put the text at an angle. We have wrap text, which means the cell gets wider and the text, you can see the text, and I'll show you that in a later video. We have merge, which is very handy, where you take two cells and merge them together if you have like a heading over a couple of different columns. This group is new. This is where you dictate what kind of numbers will go into a field. So it might be that you're working with percentages. This looks like it would be money, right? But it's not. It's accounting. It's not completely different, but it's very different. It looks different, and sometimes it adds up a little bit different. Rounds different, and you can have different kinds of, again, it looks like money. It's not money. It's accounting. So you actually set the money right here. If you're dealing in currency, like you're doing a budget, you want everything set to currency, not accounting. Accounting deals with debits and credits, and when you take that oh-so-fun accounting class, you can talk more about that. You have lots of options for dates, and then here, of course, is more number formats where you get more specific into each one. You can add places under the date. You can have much more diversity in how the date looks. So you can you can go through all of these tabs and make things very particular. All right. Conditional formatting will do. Cell styles. This looks very similar to the format styles that you have in Word, and I use these quite often. I'll often use that for the title, and it just makes your document look more professional really quickly without you having to invest a lot of time. Here's your cells. You can insert rows or columns. I also use a right click over to insert column. I have a column selected there, I can say insert or delete. I prefer to do right click, but you can always come up here and do these. You have an auto sum, which I'll tell you more about. You have a clear, which I call the eraser, and it's awesome because you can clear everything out of a cell. You can clear just the formatting, which would be like the colors or font size, that sort of thing. You can clear just the contents and keep the formatting. And if you have comments on there or hyperlinks, you can clear those. So these top three are very, very important because you can clear all. Sometimes you just get rid of the color. Sometimes you get rid of what the number is, but you keep the color. Sort and fill, very good, very important. We'll use that as well. All right. So above that you see here your minimize, maximize, and then the close button for the whole program. This button you won't have on yours. It's for another application I have within my particular laptop, so I apologize for having that show. I can't really get rid of it though because it's a program I use to go out and grab other people's computers who have asked me to and help them, like a tech support kind of thing. Anyway, I can talk more about that in class sometime. Here's your zoom down here. This is very handy. These are your the way the page is going to look. So page layout or your normal view. Page layout shows you your headers and your footers. So it looks more like that. Some students get confused. They say, well, this is gray, but wherever you click on, that's what's live. So that's what the computer is saying. This is always going to be your A1, or your first cell. And then as you type, when you need this second page, it will just give it to you. It's just a way of creating a spreadsheet if you want to know what it's going to look like on screen. But to be honest with you, there's better ways to manipulate what you create to fit on a page. So I don't work in this view. I usually work in this view because this dotted line, which tells you there's a page break, there's ways to change that in the page setup so that I can make anything fit on one page. I know that sounds very arrogant, but stay with me and I'll teach you. Okay, this is to add another sheet. So all of three of these sheets are called a workbook, right? So you have a workbook with multiple sheets in it, and each sheet can have different computations. And you might have a formula with an outcome, a total or something on sheet 1 that you want to put on sheet 2, and you can do that. You can transport numbers across sheets. I know that sounds very Star Trek-y, but I'll show you. And this is to add another sheet. So if you needed another one, you can always drag these and change the order. They're very manipulative-able. Is that a word? It is now. Manipulative-able. And you can rename it. Junk I need, right? And maybe you can right click on it, click off, click on, come on. There we go. I right clicked to get this menu and I can get tab color and I can make it green. And now you can't really tell, but there you can. Now it's green. When I click on it, you can't really see the green. Okay. These are to flip between sheets, I believe. I never used those. Alright, every row is numbered, right? If you click on the number, it grabs the whole row. Every column has a letter. So if you're talking about cell A5, you're talking about that cell there. If you're talking about B2, you're there. It's like Battleship, kind of. Okay, and if you want to grab everything, you click right here in the corner, and it grabs your whole sheet. And you might want to, change the font or something like that to everything. You can grab that here. Okay, so that is the basic ribbon that you'll do most of your work in. Let's take a look at insert. Here is anything you're going to put in. In our class, we will do right here. We'll stay in charts primarily. Not a whole lot of use for the others, although you do have header and footer here. Page layout helps you with margins and orientation, just like Word does. You have something called print area here, which will, I'll do a separate video on that, setting the print area. You have your page breaks you can put in here. Formulas, we use primarily AutoSum, but we actually use it right here in the Home tab, AutoSum. So you don't have to go to formulas to get that, but it is there. And I don't get too much into these, although you're more than willing to go in there and check it out. I use show formulas, which will instantly show me all the formulas behind the actual numbers. So that's how I check to see that you're using formulas and not just typing in numbers. So there's no secret to that. It's super easy, one button, and I can check your work. Okay, let's see anything here. You have sorting, but again, we use the sorting right here on the home button. So I don't ever really have a need to go back there for it. No, we don't cover anything else in there. Review, spell check, although I think it sort of spell checks automatically. The view button's important. So I would say of all these buttons, File, Home, Insert, Layout, and View would be the ones you'd use most. So here's your ruler, grid lines. You have your views here, zoom. I think that's good for now. Yep. We use switch windows. If you have an open book, you can switch between different books. So these are all sheets within one book, but if you had another book you needed, it would show it here and you could switch to it. I believe that's it. I think you now know enough to be dangerous. So let's go try a couple things.